Okay, welcome everybody to today's webinar. This is From Data to Decisions, the ampEducator data warehouse. And my name is Jamie McLeod. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ampEducator, and it's my pleasure to guide you through this session and share with you this great feature. We'll spend about 20 to 25 minutes on this webinar, which is composed of a bit of the PowerPoint slides and some actual live demonstrations like we usually do, followed by a Q&A period. And I'm joined today, as always, by our client experience lead and moderator, Sema Good.
Hi,
Please feel free.
everyone.
Yeah, hi, Sema. Please feel free to submit any questions to Sema using the Q&A option in Zoom. If you've attended to these before, you'll know how to do it. It's very simple. And we'll do our best to address as many as we can by the end, time permitting. The agenda today is really what the data warehouse is, because we've gotten a lot of questions about that. A little bit about why we built it, problem it solves, what's included, and like I said, just connecting tools. Overview of the tables maybe, and a little bit of a case study that we generated just as a demo about finding at-risk students with the query tool rather than separate reporting. Okay, so let's get started. I'll skip to the next slide here. And so a little introduction about, as I said, what the data warehouse is and why we built it. It's a structured queryable copy of your institution database. So we built it so you're not limited to whatever standard reports we've already built for you, and we built it because more and more institutions were asking for the same thing. Direct access to their own data in a form that works with the tools they already use. So this is for data analysts, administrators, maybe BI teams, anyone who needs to go beyond hand report and ask their own questions of the data. And in addition to that, I would also say it's for people who need to get customized data and have a little bit of technical capability and are able to embrace some of the language models or the AI tools that are available because quite honestly, if you're capable of doing that, you might be able to work your way through it as well too. So it's really just about directly accessing the data and customizing and everything I mentioned before. So the key takeaway really is that what it provides, access to your own data on your terms. So it's, the same question, two approaches. We always like to compare, finding at-risk students, standard reports versus the data warehouse. Standard reports, obviously running different reports, maybe exporting to spreadsheets, cross-referencing, could be hours, hopefully not hours, but it depends on if you add that up over time, right? Versus our data warehouse, which is really hopefully writing one query and then joining the three tables in the query and then running it instantly and then also visualizing it, which is really the power in some of these tools that you can connect with Power BI listed here. Today we're looking at Tableau and DBeaver is another one. But there's many, and hopefully it becomes minutes and not hours. So yeah, with the data warehouse, one query, all tables, much better than the standard reporting. And those standard reports, they have limits, as some of you have experienced over the years using ampEducator. You can only see what we've already built. If you need something custom, you're stuck waiting on a new report to be built for you. Maybe you're able to access it and update it yourself if you're using a report builder. Over the years, we've enabled more and more access. But increasingly, institutions need to combine that data with other systems as well too, and your data warehouse, your BI stack, maybe your institution's other platforms to get the full picture. So this is all about enabling that. And it's not limitless right now. It's not completely open. We're obviously taking baby steps to make sure that it's secure and building it in the right way, the way that we should be responsibly. But IT and analytics teams have told us clearly they want direct access, not manual reports or exports. They feel that this is what they need, so that's what we're doing. And that's exactly what data warehouse gives you. It's the key takeaway is the more your institution grows, the more the old limits, will show. So, we really want to be able to allow people to connect their platforms and not just through integration tools through on their own terms. So, what you get right now is obviously a ready-to-use data platform. We've built pre-built data tables, and the reason if you're accessing our legacy tables right now, that's almost the complete database schema for your ampEducator instance. But there is many things in there that are uh, probably never going to be used. So it's not really ideal for someone building reporting or analytics because then there's a lot of guesswork. We have to constantly update that schema. And when I say guesswork, I mean how, you have to try to interpret the database schema written for software, not really set up for reporting. So there's constraints there technically, and without going into a lot of details, some of you may have experiences from using the legacy tables. It's not always easy to figure out what's going on with attendance or get what you need because it's just not supporting that as well as it could be. So rather than learn all that, we did these pre-built data tables that combine these. And, like I said, it's covering students, courses, enrollment, attendance, grades, financials, and prospects, essentially everything you'd want to report on. And it refreshes nightly, so you're always working with current information without doing anything yourself there. So, and there's what I mean by that is you're not having to update these to some other system, download them, sync them, etc. There are ways to access it, querying directly with Athena or downloading CSV files if you just need the raw data. But it's all under one set of credentials. The same login works with any client, BI tool or reporting tool you might already use. And there's no separate integration to build for each one. So again, key takeaway here, everything you need, start querying is included. And as far as the 17 tables at a more higher level, you don't need to memorize every field. You just need to get orientated with them. Again, the core tables, students, courses, enrollment, I mentioned, and financials and prospects and grades. Attendance. The key thing to understand is how they relate. So, students connect to enrollment, which connect to grades, which tie to attendance, which ties to financials. And that chain is what makes the case study we're going to look at coming up possible. It's you can follow a single student across all of these areas through the key and highlight the fields that institutions ask about most often, student ID, term, course code, balance due, and grade. And since those are the join keys that come up and again and again, that's how we've developed these tables. So common joins, less work, students to enrollments, grades, attendance, financials. And again, this is based on years and years of building these reports. They may not include everything that you need right now, but certainly there's a methodology for getting additional fields added if one's missing, and we can talk about that later. So in terms of, actually looking at it, connecting your tools, once you've got the credentials sorted out, and I'll show you how that looks in ampEducator. You can see when you go into your home menu and reports where you would normally go for your reports and your report builder and using the legacy tables that are going to be deprecated and replaced by this. You have the data warehouse. And the data warehouse credentials are here. Once they're enabled, you can use them to connect. And depending on where your instance is with AWS, you'll have a region and other various credentials here. And whether you're using Athena or you're doing a download data CSV option, you can pick one of the suggested tools here and connect. And we've done quite a good job of setting up all the instructions and doing our best to help you get past the initial configuration. It might depend on your computer or your operating system, but most of the information is here. And in our case, we're using for this demo today DBeaver and Tableau, but Power BI is another one here, and Python has obviously been around for a long time. So once you access your credentials, you can enter them into, like I said, for example, DBeaver. And DBeaver, it's one of many options. You would just go into your connections and once you've configured those connections, you'll get your results, and it'll come up as an institution database with a number on the end of it, and then there's the tables. And these are the 17 tables we've been talking about and how they've been built to relate. And then you can go in and you can start to query those tables directly and get your results. And this is not as advanced as some of the visualization tools. If you're not familiar with DBeaver, it's sort of like one step above the tools, the report builder that we've given you currently. It's a little bit more than that actually, but you can think of it in terms of tiers. This is sort of below the Tableaus or the Power BI, for those of you who aren't familiar with that. But it does give you direct access. You can query, you can do all kinds of different um, results from this. We've got one up here that's just showing um, for student attendance where we've joined the tables. And there is work here. Obviously, you have to understand, what you're doing in terms of querying. And my assumption is a lot of you in attendance today do that. So I'm skipping over a lot technically, but you get the idea. You can access, you can do the queries, and you can join the tables and then get your results and then apply, uh, uh, whatever other additional code or math you need there to get those results. In terms of samples and if you need some, something like that to get you started, or you're just not sure, you can go to, again, Sam has done a great job of documenting all this for us as our technical writer as well too. We've got all kinds of queries available in the docs at ampeducator.com under resources. And if you wanted to look at students at risk or outstanding balances or aging breakdown, just to get a sort of a sense of the sort of things you could query and do, you can just take these queries and copy them over to a DBeaver type application, and it will do that. And here's a result here. I just copied over the same thing and got my students with total absences greater than one, for example, in a list. And then the nice thing about this is you can continue to add things, including getting the statuses. And this is really just about showing you that it's a working model, why we did it the way we did it, and some examples of what you could do just at this tier. When you want to take it a step further, which a lot of schools do, they want to build dashboards, and they want us to have dashboards on our existing home screen. We've been looking at that for a long time. These tools are all being released in conjunction with those internal roadmaps. We do have plans for that, but we really believe in getting it right and supplying you with alternatives like this. So if you want to build dashboards outside of ampEducator that show your data or connect to the systems, this is now available. We'll slowly be integrating some built-in ones that we feel are relevant. And if you want to augment those, this is one way that you could do that or share them with your staff. Um, Specifically speaking to Tableau, we have a case study that we sort of put together to sort of demonstrate this flow. So it's at-risk students and maybe answering a question that standard reports couldn't. And on screen here, you'll see a screenshot of the Tableau dashboard that we developed, where we joined grades and attendance and financial summary tables in Tableau and added a PDF and a CSV button just to show some ideas there, total at-risk balance, total students. It's again just following on top of connecting and then building and then visualizing and then sharing this outside of ampEducator. And then these tools, obviously, like I said, will be integrated into the system at some point. But right now, we're really trying to get a sense of what people are trying to do, get that feedback, and then the most common ones we'll probably implement. We have our own ideas, but we're certainly monitoring and working with everybody to figure out what the best ones would be. So as an example here, Real Example School wanted to know which students are at risk, failing grades, and poor attendance, and an outstanding balance, and or maybe some other things. Standard reports in ampEducator, they can answer this. You can see statuses. You can see, obviously some of you may be aware of this, but you can set up those thresholds and you can see those results. But then really digging into it, you might have to click a little further and look around, and then this tool really allows you to fully customize and directly get that information and then share it with staff, and then again, PDF it, CSV it, whatever it is that you need to do specific to your needs. Again, this is just to help visualize this application. So, you know, the query in Tableau, I'll just flip over to that. And again, this could be Power BI, it could be a number of different visualizations, but because I'm on a Mac, I'm using Tableau. So you'll just have to bear with me, PC users. Trust me that Power BI works and you may already be connecting with it. But just to give everyone a sense of how, again, how this works, it's the same type of thing. You're connecting to the database. You're accessing the same 17 tables. In this case, you're just dragging them out. You might have to confirm some information about the relationships between them. But once you get into that, then you can start building out your student details and doing things like applying filters and setting up different rows and criterias on those different queries. And in the background, you know, it's doing the heavy lifting, and then you can format it, build in some more counts like total students and total at-risk balance. And yeah, I think, you know, most of the people, I'm assuming, again, understand where I'm going with this, but for the people who are maybe not as technically inclined, I just wanted to sort of pull back the curtain a bit here and show you what's going on behind the scenes as best as I can and show you how you can, you know, arrive at these customized dashboards and then share them outside of the system. And yeah, this is again showing us details that you couldn't really get in ampEducator in one place that's very customized for maybe what you need to do as a staff member at your school or any number of different workflow applications. So again, the idea here is showing the student details and then being able to visualize them, and it's all pulling from those tables. So you're able to quickly build these, connect them, visualize them, share them, and then apply um, you know, different workflows and automations with our system. So it's really, again, about contrasting with the standard report approach and maybe the Tableau take. It's that's the key takeaway here, I think, is really access and yeah, we get a lot of questions about, well, what's going to happen with my existing reports and my legacy data on ampEducator. And the truth is that those will always be supported. We're not just going to delete them on you. If you've joined today and you're wondering about that, or you didn't see some of the notes, you know, obviously we wouldn't do that. The reason that we're moving to this format is to improve it, not make lives difficult. So if you have fields that you're currently using or worried that you might not have access to, don't just let us know, and then we can certainly address those. Um, I mean, that's as it says right here. What if I need a field that isn't in the warehouse? No problem. Email support at ampeducator.com and we'll take a look for you. And chances are we may have addressed it in a better way already, and we just haven't released it yet. So this slide's just about sort of moving into our question period. So yeah, common FAQ, data warehouse. How often is data refreshed? I don't know if that one came up. Nightly, automatically. Um, the reason for that is so that everything happens during the day, and then the reports update, and it's shared with your visualizations with staff the next day. Is my data isolated from other institutions? Yes. I mean, obviously, that's not something that we would fool around with, but technically, if you have questions about this infrastructure and all of that of ampEducator, we can schedule a meeting and talk about that. But every instance is obviously separated, and we're not sharing your information with other schools. But it's a question that comes up, and the other one that comes up a lot, obviously, is what does it cost to add this feature? And just like everything else with ampEducator, you know, we're not trying to make this a revenue generation tool for us. It is your data. We firmly believe that, and we've always been very transparent about that. And this is really just about recovering operating costs. So it's very inexpensive to turn this feature on. We've set it at $150 a month Canadian, and it's really just to cover the incremental with Amazon Web Services. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Simon, maybe there's some other ones
Yeah, there
that
is
have come
another
up.
question.
Okay, yeah, great.
Is it possible to use dynamic parameters?
Again, my level of understanding of what you might want to do there is limited. So if you have very specific questions about that, I would encourage you to email support and provide an example. But I would imagine yes is my answer. Yeah, I mean, really, anything like that, yes, I would say. There are things you can't do, like you can't insert, you can't do obvious things. This is mostly pulling data down, querying, and responding. But yeah, if you have a very specific example of what you mean and what application, email it to us. We'll have a look. Once, if we understand it, then I'm sure it can be either added or we would advise you what to do there.
Oh, like using today's date as a parameter.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Definitely using today's data as a parameter could be done. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Filters and Tableau would do that. It really just comes down to your application. Like in Tableau, when I built this, I just went at it and did it by doing a filter, by counting at risk and counting distinct. And I don't want to get too technical or outside the scope of this webinar, but yeah, I mean, things like date is definitely usable. You just have to apply it to the right tool. Again, if you have a very specific question like that, just email support. They will respond very quickly.
Okay, I think that's about it. There's no other questions.
Okay, great. Well, again, hopefully this has been useful. We will provide the complete webinar on our YouTube channel. Sema does a great job of setting that up. And yeah, I'll just flip back to the last slide here and sign off and say thanks for joining today. This really wasn't meant to be super in depth. Certainly, I get it, but I'm not a developer at ampEducator. I've since moved on to other things, but I get the basics, and I would certainly say if this guy can do it, anybody can do it. So I would encourage you all to check it out and play around with it. And yeah, and once you have gotten into it and have more detailed questions, please email us. We really want it to be successful, and we need your feedback. So yeah, great, awesome, and thanks again, Sema, for moderating. You're the best, putting
No
everything
problem.
together, and yeah. If you're not a current client, please go to the website, sign up, check out our docs. We'd love to work with you. And if you are a current client, I just want to say thanks again. Thanks for joining. We really appreciate you guys. Okay, so till next time, thanks again, Sema. And I guess we'll sign off.
Okay, bye everyone.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.